Josh from Clockwork Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
He got really into yoga. I think I was just talking, and I was like, oh, I always, like, I can suck my stomach in. He's like, dude, it's not even that hard. He's like, it took me, like, 2 months to learn. And then, so, he's just like, all you got to do is just whatever, like, suck in your stomach and, like, lean over and just kind of figure it out. And once you figure it out, you have it. So, it was kind of weirdly through jiu-jitsu that I learned it from Josh. And, I think originally I saw it, what you're talking about, that footage of, like, in the 90s or whatever, of him doing it on the beach or something. Yeah. And I just remember, like, what the fuck is that? It looks crazy. If you've never seen anything like that, especially when that video was around. So, yeah, I learned it through Josh, actually.
So you started doing it. Was that your introduction into, like, meditation, yoga, or any of that stuff? Or
no, I mean, I think it was, like, it all started from, like, Wim Hof, kind of. And I was like, oh, there's this guy named the Iceman. And it was before, like, how he's big, whatever, how he's turned into this huge thing now. But, he was just like, oh, the Iceman. And so I think it was just, like, learning how to do that first. And then just, like, kind of exploring. And I think what happened was I, like, did an online course of Wim Hof, and, like, I think I, like, got done with that, and then I did the next online course, and then I was like, oh fuck, if I do, like, one more I can get certified. And then, but, like, it was kind of like a Ponzi scheme in a weird way, because, like, every year or every 3 years you had to go back and, like, re-up, and you like, I think there was one point where it was, like, it was pretty inexpensive, all considering, like, flying to Europe, and you'd go to, like, his winter Poland house, and, like, they would teach you, and I was, like, ready to do it. And then I think I just got, like, really intimidated by the flights and, like, the making the bus time. Anyway, so that's how I got into all of that.
Doesn't Wim Hof has to do with, like,
Tomo?
And you use, like, ice and stuff. You use temperature.
So Tomo is a Himalayan ritual, and they go out with wet blankets at night, and they dry off the towels, and it's like whoever dries the most towels, I forget what they get or what it is, but they go into Himalayas and they control their temperature, in the fucking cold Himalayas, and they just dry towels. But that's where it comes from, his thing, though he says it's not. But I mean, if you, like, do a little bit of research on Wim Hof, he's like, he transcribed a bunch of Sanskrit books and stuff to whatever language he said, not Danish. He's Dutch, so
he learned it from somewhere else too.
Yeah. I mean, but he's, like, a very, like, he's a student of yoga.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes from.
Yeah. So many things come from yoga. I mean, martial arts comes from yoga.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like, it was like, yoga is one of the, like, the first, and it was, like, kind of like monks who would try to make movements because they kept falling asleep while meditating. So they started doing, like, essentially, like, moving meditation, which then turned into
Tai Chi or something.
Yeah, and then before you know it, there's, like, whole martial arts things. But in terms of, like, the breathing and meditation in your life, how did you kind of adopt this as, like, someone who is primarily known, especially, like, in terms of, like, physicality as a skateboarder? Like, that's kind of what you're doing. How did you start doing that? And did it have anything to do with skating? Would you even apply it to skating?
I tried, just, like, kind of like mind over matter type of thing. I think the other thing with Wim Hof is like, you really need, like, the cold immersion to really get the, like, focus and benefit. But I didn't really have that component. I mean, at one point I could, like, take, like, a 5-minute shower, cold shower in New York in the wintertime and be, like, kind of fine. But that was, like, the closest thing. I didn't have, like, an ice tub or anything like that. But no, I don't know if it, like, really there wasn't any crossover. It was just more curiosity, if anything.
Yeah. How do you think it affected different aspects of your life, just that didn't have to do with skating?
Oh, I think it, like, everything was for the better.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, not that I got smarter, but like definitely look at the world different. I think it's more that Wim Hof was like the gateway drug to then like going in and like getting more interested in yoga and reading like what's the book called, The Sages of Patanjali, and just like kind of just understanding or getting a better understanding of yoga for more, getting an understanding of yoga that's not so like whitewashed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like really like getting the other aspects than just like the physicality of it.
Yeah, I mean, yoga is like a spiritual practice. It's also like has a lot to do with, I feel like, consciousness. Like there's a lot of like the Vedas talk about the yoga, but talk about yoga. A lot of like Taoist and Buddhist things also have to do with yoga. Whereas in the popular, I guess, idea of yoga is just like kind of like stretching.
Right. That's, I think, everyone's like basic understanding of it, and you know, and like it goes so much deeper than that. And you know, I have to say I haven't been practicing since my kid, but you know, it's just like when you're like really in the thick of it and doing it, it's like amazing, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're like really like, you know, eating Ayurvedic, doing, you know, having your either 2 hour or whatever, doing the full cycle of a yoga practice, it's, you know, it's powerful, you know. And then also it's like, it's funny because I think a lot of people think like yoga comes from, it does come from India, but all the stretching actually comes from like the UK and like Sweden.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, in like 19th century because of the silk trade.
That's funny.
And there was Indian students going to the universities and stuff, and so they would bring it down, and maybe not the silk trade, but the relationship between those three countries.
Yeah, like that aspect of it might not even have been really emphasized.
Because I think before, yoga was just really just like laying down and like kind of meditating, and maybe there was I think there was like a like a sun salutation, but before that, and then, you know, it was like just gymnastic stretching basically. Yeah. And then they took it and then, you know, expanded it.
What is Ayurvedic cooking or eating?
It's basically, it's almost it's about just creating food that's easy on your digestive system. And so there's three, I'm going to forget all the words right now. But there's 3 dosas, and that's like kind of your body type. And basically you're kind of like, you're either 1 or 1 of 2, or you can be 3, and you kind of eat within that like I think, what am I? Vata, Pitta. And basically it's like, it's also like you burn fat, and your digestive's hot, so you need to like counter it with cold and stuff like that. But it's a really interesting way of eating, and you don't eat anything raw, all cooked.
In all of them, like regardless of what.
Regardless, yeah. And it's just like certain foods you don't like. There's no eating onions or garlic, but then, you know, there's like people I talk to that are like Ayurvedic chefs, and they're like, yeah, don't eat coconut. But then you watch like a documentary, and then someone's like talking about like coconut will like heal you. Mm-hmm. And it's like each food represents something for each organ.